Well, happy Friday, fellow Texans. It's the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. I know, good to see you too. Let's get through this and go have a good weekend, because I'm going to just rifle through like 28 stories here in the next 3 hours. If you miss any of it, come back for the podcast. But we're going to start with this Epstein situation here because, you know, some stuff got leaked, and it's not even from anyone in government. This was from the Epstein estate, which kind of makes me wonder, how much more do you guys have? Why don't you go ahead and release the rest of it? What are y'all waiting on? Who even is their estate? Did he have kids? I don't know. But we're going to start off today's James Show with a sub show of what the heck did Jasmine Crockett say this time? Jasmine Crockett, queen of the liberal tea.
Bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Governor Hot Wheels. And he is a hot ass mess, honey.
Queen of the liberal tea. So in today's episode, Jasmine Crockett talking about the Epstein situation here. She has been on CNN 3 days in a row on one of their primetime shows over here in the afternoon. No one else in Congress has gotten more FaceTime on CNN than this woman. Look, not to already chase a rabbit here, but she's going to run for Senate. You understand that, right? So here she is talking about the Epstein files, and I left a little bit extra on the beginning of this soundbite before she gets to hinting that Trump's a pedophile. Just to let you know, this is the context that came in. I didn't selectively edit this. I didn't pull it out of context. This isn't her quoting somebody else. This is a real problem, though, the way they casually slip that in there. It's not like I'm offended, or it's not like I believe it, or my feelings are hurt. But it's this hyped rhetoric, this over-the-top hyperbole. This is not good.
I wouldn't be surprised if he sent a message and said, stop investigating. We're done with this. Epstein's dead. I don't want to hear anything else about it.
Do you have any evidence of that claim?
I have no idea. No, that's the whole point. I have no information. And that's why we need these files to be released, because we are looking for transparency, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent. Listen, if people decide that they want to continue to support a person who may be a pedophile himself, or a person who obviously is covering for pedophiles, that's on them. But they should know at least the devil that they have decided to pick.
You know, that criticism goes both ways. Y'all all voted for a guy that was protecting pedophiles for 4 years. Then when he got kicked to the side, you were going to vote for the vice president that was covering for pedophiles, if not a pedophile herself. You know, this rhetoric, this is too much. This is one of the reasons why I want these files released, so this can stop. So this speculation can stop. Now, as much as I don't like this may very well serve a purpose. It's immoral. It's unethical. It's wrong on several levels. But this is the kind of, you know, concern and sensationalism and bad press that might actually convince them to release the files, as ironic as that sounds. And so there's going to be a big focus on this Epstein stuff until they find some other shiny keys to distract their people with. Because make no mistake, this isn't a genuine concern about what Epstein was up to. They just surveyed the landscape and said, what makes Trump look the worst right now? But they cannot help themselves. They have to do the hyperbole. It doesn't matter how many times they've lied to you before, how many times they've been wrong before, how many predictions that have fallen flat on their face. They can't help themselves. This is what makes it a derangement syndrome. This is what makes it a pathology. You don't just hate the guy. You hate the guy, and it causes you to do irrational things and act in irrational ways. My next example is Lawrence O'Donnell from MSNBC last night saying, you know, Trump just might resign, y'all.
That has the potential to not just crush Donald Trump as a politician, but depending on what else might be revealed in the Epstein files and as a result of this subpoena, maybe Donald Trump's presidency could come to an end. Maybe Donald Trump could become the second president to resign the presidency, the second Republican president to resign the presidency. How bad can this get for Donald Trump? We have no idea, but he does.
You know how tired that is? Because this is now just fan fiction hating Trump. That's Lawrence O'Donnell this week in 2025. We're going to go through the Audiotron 3000. We're going to take a little trip through history here, where After the first 18 months of Donald Trump's first term. So we're talking about, this is from like January 2017 to, what would that be, like July of 2018. Gravian, it's a news clipping service. They made a montage of all the people predicting Trump will resign, Trump will go to jail, Trump's going to prison, Trump's not going to finish his first term, the walls are caving in, this is the tipping point, this is the beginning of the end. They've been predicting this guy's demise for 8 straight years now, almost 9. They've been telling their audience this guy's going to prison for like 8 straight years now. No wonder they're so crazy they go set things on fire, chuck a brick through a window. No wonder they act so nuts. They just... Okay, listen. This is from 2017 and 2018, first 18 months of Trump 1.0.
Breaking news, a new bombshell.
One astrologer says this means the beginning of the end for President Donald Trump.
The beginning of the end of the Trump presidency.
Trump will resign.
Trump is going to resign.
Is this the tipping point? I know we've said it over and over.
You think this is a tipping point?
And over and over.
This is a tipping point.
And over and over.
Breaking news, President Trump off the rails.
It was the beginning of the end today.
The beginning of the end.
It reminds me a lot of the last days of Nixon.
Breaking news tonight, new bombshell.
This is the beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end.
The walls are closing in.
The walls closing in.
The wall's closing in.
Breaking overnight bombshell.
This is a very dramatic day, and I think it might be near a tipping point. Do you think this is a tipping point?
This is unbelievable. This is remarkable. Have you ever seen anything like this?
His presidency is crippled.
December 1st, 2017, you can mark it down. This is the day that everything changed.
We begin with the bombshell.
The beginning of the end?
The beginning of the end.
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 In fact, if this were a football game, we're in the third quarter. May even be the beginning of the end.
We begin tonight with the bombshell.
Donald Trump is in a lot of trouble.
Trump is in trouble.
The president will resign.
Another hour, another bombshell.
This is a tipping point.
Trump's going down.
This president could be impeached.
I do not think the president will serve out his term. Resignation. I don't think this president is going to serve out his term. Mr. Trump will not serve out his term. He will not serve out his term. No way. No how. Breaking news.
Absolute bombshell. I think Donald Trump is in trouble.
Donald Trump is not. He's done. And it's over. It's over.
The wall's closing in.
The wall's closing in.
This is going to be the Achilles heel.
Breaking news tonight. I expect Trump to depart. This week will be the watershed week. Trump is in big trouble.
Trump's in a lot of trouble.
It's a sign of a terrified old man who feels the
Walls
Closing in.
The walls
Are increasingly
closing in on him.
tonight. The walls
Are closing in.
today changed everything. This is the beginning
Of the end.
Today, the biggest
Tipping point for the Trump administration.
What a historic day. The bombshells, they fell.
It's entropy and it's crumbling internally.
He's underwater. He feels
The walls closing in.
Could his testimony be a turning point?
We may be at a tipping point.
It's the beginning of
The end.
The beginning.
of the end.
Another bombshell.
Bombshell. Bombshell.
Bombshell.
Bombshell.
Bombshell.
Bombshell.
This is a bombshell.
It is a bombshell.
I am beginning to resent the word bombshell.
And I want to remind you, it was a couple days ago on the James Show, we were just marveling at Abby Phillips on CNN telling Joy Reid on her podcast that, boy, these right-wingers just live in an alternate reality.
Conservatives are living in a completely different information world than liberals. And breaking that down needs to be done. Because when you don't ever even hear the facts, it's hard to even know that you're wrong.
Yeah, right. You guys are not living in a bubble at all. You get everything right. All your predictions totally come true. That's for sure. 800-288-9227. All right. Now that I'm done making fun of them, what is your theory on the holdup for the Epstein files? I don't think it's Trump. He wouldn't have ran his mouth so much on the campaign trail if this would have implicated him. Also, I think Biden would have released it, or Kamala would have released it. Someone would have leaked it by now. So who's he protecting? Nobody? Somebody? His donors? Family members? Congressional members? Senators? Governors? Who are we slow rolling this for? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, sports fans, James Parker here for the Prize Picks app. Football's about to kick off again. Now, I know it's high school tonight, but they don't have high school on the Prize Picks app. They have pretty much everything else, though. They have your college football. They have your professional basketball. They have your professional hockey that's still going on. Then, of course, they have the big boys. For the Cowboys are playing on Monday night, so you don't have to quite jump on that just yet. They're doing tennis. They're doing... What is this one? Oh, yeah, these are the little symbols for the esports. Call of Duty, Val, R6, whatever that is. Go check it out on the Prize Picks app. Whatever sport you're already enjoying, you can add a little bit more spice to it. With Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, you make a lineup of 2 to 6 players. You look at a stat, you pick more or less on it. It's that easy. You can turn a little bit of money into a lot of money, 2,000 times your money with the Prize Picks app. If you're new to the app, I can give you a little bonus action there. Download Prize Picks, use promo code WBAP, and you'll get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. So download Prize Picks, use promo code WBAP, get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. Oh, beach volleyball. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. So why are they slow rolling the Epstein documents? It's the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. And of course, both administrations have done this. Trump was in power when he got arrested in the first place. And then for 4 years of Biden, nothing. And Trump ran his mouth quite a bit on the campaign trail. Apparently he got back in office, got to see the Epstein list himself. Something changed his mind. And so we're just speculating on what that is. Now, Jasmine Crockett kind of recklessly was on CNN yesterday saying, I don't know if this guy's a pedophile or not. Okay, that's completely irresponsible, probably unlikely. It might even be something you could sue for. Geez, that's pretty bad. But here.
To support a person who may be a pedophile himself.
Yeah, maybe a pedophile. Look, that language, as hyperbolic and irresponsible as it is, that's the kind of bad press that might actually get this thing released. But who's being protected right now? Why is this being slow rolled? We know it's not a hoax. He'll say it's a hoax. It's not a hoax. There really were girls trafficked. Hell, one of them wrote a book about it. Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison right now for trafficking girls. To whom? Nobody? Just one dude? So my theory is it's someone else who's in a position of power who he kind of needs right now. If it's one Republican senator, they pretty much lose power in the Senate. They don't get anything else done. Could it be some congressmen? I don't know. Could it be some governors? Maybe. I'm leaning toward a senator, some other people in office, or it could be donors. I don't think it's Elon. I don't think it's Trump. They wouldn't have run the mouth the way they did the last calendar year. So I really don't have the good answers for you. I'm usually pretty good at that on the James Show, but I'm asking you today. Sean, Royce City, why do you think they're slow rolling the Epstein files on WBAP?
Hey, I'd like to go back to when that guy, the CEO, was caught on camera with his HR personnel or whatever. Remember the fallout that happened then?
Oh, you're talking about the dude at the Coldplay concert. I'm sorry, it took me a second.
Right.
I'm a little slow. Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. All right, remember the fallout that happened then? I mean, that company lost stock, and he quit and all this other kind of stuff. I think it's CEOs and the like.
Oh, like if it's like someone on the board of directors of NVIDIA.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if something like that happens, can you imagine the economic fallout that would happen?
Yeah, it's a great guess. It's someone like that. Yeah, agreed, Sean. Yeah. Totally. You said it better than I did.
Cool. Thanks, man.
All right.
Thanks.
Should have added that in there. Thank you, Sean and Royce City. This is Mike in Westlake. You're on WBAP.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Mike.
Good. My opinion is that it's a lot of people, and it's people from both sides of the aisle.
Yep.
And Epstein was no fool. I mean, he was a pretty smart operator. I don't respect him, but he was not stupid. He got enough people from both sides embroiled in it and tangled up in it that nobody wants to talk because they've got allies that are going to go down with it. They've got enemies that would go down with it, but it's a stalemate. I think he trapped them by just having people from both sides of the aisle. He had super wealthy people from Hollywood. He had people from New York. He had international people. I mean, the guy basically tangled everybody up in the web, and nobody wants to see the whole web exposed. Too many people would go down, and some of these people can make other people disappear.
All right. So I agree with the mutually assured destruction aspect of that. Now, I hear a lot of people take that to the next level and say he's got all of these powerful people in a headlock. You know, he can extort them, or I guess blackmail them would be more accurate. He can blackmail them with, the information he has about their untoward activities with minor children sexually. But is he at the behest of someone else? Like a Nick Fuentes or someone would say he's a tool of the Mossad. Some people would say he's a tool of the CIA. Some people say there's some bigger like Illuminati, Rothschild, something else going on behind it. So it kind of feels conspiratorial to go past that. But until we get the files, who knows?
I agree. I think it's like holding a hand grenade. You're not going to let it go because you're going down with everybody else.
Will we see him, Mike?
I don't know if Trump's guilty, but he may have allies that he needs, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I doubt he's guilty because I don't think he would have run his mouth like that, and I don't think Elon would have on his way out said, "Hey, his names are in the files." If it really would have destroyed him like that. Steve and Garland, you're on WBAP.
Yeah, I've been listening to the comments, and I think that everybody's pretty much hit the nail on the head. But it's not just American politicians. You got corporate businessmen, you got bankers, you got political supporters, but not just here. We're talking possibly worldwide. And if it became public knowledge, it would upset the political landscape around the globe, you know?
Like, what if Zelensky's on the list or something like that? Not that he is, but if somebody like a Zelensky on the list, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, Clinton is, because he had a private jet that he flew out there all the time.
All right.
You know, considering he's married to Hillary, you know. But the thing of it is, was Hillary out there with him? Because, you know, she sure leans that way. But
she does. She might be someone who's just sort of asexual in my mind. It's easier for my brain to comprehend the fact that she's just never done anything with anybody except for the one time she had Chelsea. I think that's what's the most settling reality to me, whether it's true or not. So why do you think they're slow rolling the Epstein documents? We'll continue with more callers. And a Texas congressman has proposed a freeze on all immigration, even legal immigration. That's coming up on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker, and we're having a discussion on the Epstein files. Are we ever actually going to get them, or are they just exploiting this to make some headlines? We do have the vote that happened on yesterday, and it was all 214 Democrats and 4 Republicans had to break to force the procedures to get the files released. The 4 Republicans, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, and Thomas Massie. Okay, so that's sort of the ultra-conservative, almost libertarian wing of the Republican House caucus. So we shall see. The big question, though, is who are we protecting here? And when I say we, I know you and I aren't protecting anybody. But when the files didn't get released the first time Trump was in office, you were a little suspicious. You're like, oh, he must be protecting somebody. Maybe he's in trouble. But the fact that it went through 4 years of a Biden administration without getting released, that tells me Trump's probably in the clear. So Trump's back in, and after running his mouth quite a bit on the campaign trail about releasing the files, seems to be pretty popular with the people on both sides of the aisle. He sort of slow-rolled that enthusiasm now that he's in power. Why? I mean, I don't have the answer. I'm asking. Why? Dwayne in Dallas. You're on WBAP.
Hey, I just wanted to say that back in the late 90s, I had a roommate. Her name was Paula Parkinson, and she was a lobbyist who was in penthouse for on a spread where she had slept with several different senators, and one of them they offered her $250,000 to pose again, because one of the people she slept with, Jack Kemp, was going to run for president. And that's kind of humorous, but the stuff with Epstein is not humorous. That anything you do to do with children is really bad. But I think that people in power, a lot of times, they think that nobody's going to catch them. And so
she wasn't sleeping with him just because she was a nice girl. This was an entrapment honeypot situation.
Yeah, she was kind of a wild loot, and so they had offered her money and stuff, and that was back then where.
Oh my God, that's awful. Where can I find her? Just kidding. All right, thank you very much, Dwayne. This is Richard in Holland. You're on WBAP.
Hello, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Trump doesn't want the release of the Epstein files yet because he has an immense amount of leverage. If you remember, before he was elected, he was saying, let's release the Epstein files. That triggered all the left, so they're against it. The Democrats, when they were in power, never brought it up, and they had access to so much. But after the election, he calls it a Democrat hoax. He triggers the base. Now they demand the release. The Democrats didn't want to do that. But after the woke are taking over New York City, where is that lady got elected mayor? The woke are in control of the Democrat Party. Suddenly, a lot of these Democrats support the release because they won't get reelected if the woke base doesn't support them, because all the big money is drying up. They're depending on independent donors. Then, when this bill came up just recently, just enough Democrats voted it down so the Epstein release, it wouldn't happen. Trump uses Epstein as leverage. Who knows how many domestic and international powerful people could be implicated? The royal family. How many CEOs and Democrat leaders in the past 5-6 years have retired or chosen not to run, or left the head of their company? What's the name of the guy who runs Google? Boy, he flipped fast, even on the environmental stuff. Look, Epstein is dead. Maxwell is talking. The ones who don't cooperate with Trump, they're either going to cooperate or they're going to the SHTF going to hit the fan.
Yeah, we get where you're going with that. Yeah, I don't know if he's using it for leverage, though. I mean, would we have just had a 45-day shutdown if he could strong arm these people into doing whatever he wanted with this extortion or blackmail, technically? Kent in Dallas, you're on WBAP. What do you think about the Epstein?
Yes, sir. A little bit different take on it. Local, Dallas, back in the 80s, there was a pyramid scheme put out in the D magazine that listed people that were involved and corrupt in it, that bankers, banks, bank was shut down, different things happened, but the prime players in the pyramid scheme were portrayed as different people. The guy that did the interview in the end said he would give money to it, but now you have a bank that was shut down. The president of that bank is now running another one. So the media is what influences everybody. They basically ended up getting a guy that should never have a job is now the president of another bank that was involved in the pyramid scheme, and it was in the 80s. It's popular. I could say the name, but it was in D magazine. It's public.
You know, it can't send me an email with the name that you didn't say on the air. I'd like to read into that. Parker at WBAP.com. Coming up next, local Texas Congressman Chip Roy is proposing the Pause Act, which would freeze immigration for a temporary amount of time. How long? I don't know. But you'll hear him explain it next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. What do you think about a freeze on immigration? I mean, all immigration. Yes, even legal immigration. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, it's been thrown out there and been kind of in the background of the national conversation for a while, and then it just made a big promotion this week. First, the background. Let's go back a couple weeks or 10 days ago or so. J.D. Vance speaking at the Turning Point USA event, and he says, at this point, maybe we have too many foreigners.
There are people who want to come to the United States of America, and some of them, I'm sure, can enrich the United States of America by coming here, but we have got to get our overall numbers way, way down. Too many people have come into the United States of America. I am married to the daughter of immigrants who came to the United States in the 1980s. I do believe that some immigrants, many immigrants do in fact enrich the United States of America, but here's the problem. We don't even know how many illegal aliens we have. We don't even know. The best guess is probably 25, 30 million people. I've heard estimates as high as 50 million. When something like that happens, you've got to allow your own society to cohere a little bit, to build a sense of common identity, for all the newcomers to assimilate, the ones who are going to stay, to assimilate into American culture. Until you do that, you've got to be careful about any additional immigration, in my view.
Now, I know you don't think that sounds like hate. That doesn't sound like Nazis, bigots. There's nothing scary about that. When you look at the numbers, we are literally at the highest number of foreign-born people in the United States in our history. In fact, we just crossed the threshold that was set back in 1890 when we had the big waves of Ellis Island and Irish and Italian, and everyone was coming here, and it was a whole thing. And then we put a pause on in like 1920-ish, somewhere around there. And then it got to a low of about 7-point-something% in 1970, and it's climbed back up and is now set an all-time high. About 16% is one of the numbers that gets tossed around a lot. The last official number we have is from 5 years ago from the census, and that actually ties 1890. So we know it's gone up under the 4 years of Biden since then. But that aside, it's worth a discussion, seeing as how this is higher than it's ever been. Because you got to count all the illegals, and then you have to count all the people that are here legally through the legal immigration system. And then you have to count all the people that got to jump the legal immigration system because, well, it's an H-1B visa, and they have a special skill that we need for this one business. And then you have to count all the people that get to jump the line because it was an asylum claim. 35,000 people from Haiti showing up in a Ohio town. Those are asylum claims. So we have the highest amount of foreign-born people in this country, and not just by a nominal number, I mean by proportions. So is this worth having a conversation? Abby Phillips and Joy Reid are scared to have that conversation.
J.D. Vance, just a couple of days ago, he was speaking publicly, and he made it very clear. In fact, I think he said explicitly to a student at a Turning Point event, we have too much immigration in this country. He didn't say too much illegal immigration. He said too much immigration in this country. So I am not making. Hold on. I am not making.
Let me filter that comment.
Hold on. No. Don't filter. Let's just listen to what people are saying. He was, and trust me, I'm not taking him out of context. He was asked a question, actually by somebody who was in an intimate relationship with an immigrant. And he said, we have to face it. We have too much immigration in this country. That is a real thing in MAGA world. You can't pretend that it's not. There are many people in MAGA world who think that we just let reality people in, legal or...
Number one. That is a real thing in MAGA world. What, the idea that there is a maximum number of foreign-born people we can have in this country without having negative consequences? There's a... The number for the amount of immigrants that come here for you, Abby, is just infinity. There's just no question to it. You don't even know what the number is. You don't know. Do you know that it's at an all-time high? If we can't talk about it when it's at an all-time high, then you just don't want to talk about it. Can you believe that this is a real thing in MAGA? Well, of course it's a real thing. It's quite a rational thing for any country to ask of itself. Are we letting in too many foreigners? Japan lets in like 0 every year. Got a problem with that? Are they evil? Are they racist? Are they literally Hitler? I mean, don't count the World War II part. I mean, Japan now. So Chip Roy, congressman from Texas, has offered up the Pause Act, which is an immigration freeze. Here he is explaining it on The Benny Show.
But I'm going to introduce a bill as a framework to say, why don't we just freeze immigration entirely until we sort this crap out, until we figure out who's here, why they're here, how many Chinese communists, how many people who are Islamists who want to remake America, how many people that are living on the public dole, that are living on welfare, that are going into the emergency room to get care, that are in our education system getting taxpayer-funded education because the Supreme Court declared it so. Let's pause all that, and that'll actually be the name of the bill, the Pause Act.
Now, I know most of us, probably all the people listening to the James Show right now, thinks that we should do something about illegal immigration, but should we put a pause on legal immigration? Why or why not? I'll give you my theory a little more in depth coming up on the James Show. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up, oh yeah, Sting tickets. Sting's going to be back in town. Sting 3.0. You can get your tickets, livenation.com. He's going to be here. What is that? No, that's like 6 months away. Isn't that weird when we do the concerts? For those of you who really plan ahead, I'm almost impressed with you people. I don't know what I'm doing on Wednesday of next week. But yeah, if you want Sting tickets, livenation.com. You can win a pair from our morning show coming up next week. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, what do you think about freezing legal immigration? It's the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Barker. I know, good to see you too. Happy Friday. Now, it's been in discussion, and we haven't really talked about the idea of illegal immigration freeze on the James Show just yet, but now that someone's put pen to paper and submitted a proposal here, I'm talking about Texas Congressman Chip Roy. Oh, now we got to talk about this. It's going to be called the Pause Act. Here he is again explaining this on the Benny Show, Congressman Chip Roy.
But I'm going to introduce a bill as a framework to say, why don't we just freeze immigration entirely until we sort this crap out, until we figure out who's here, why they're here, how many Chinese communists, how many people who are Islamists who want to remake America, how many people that are living on the public dole, that are living on welfare, that are going into the emergency room to get care, that are in our education system getting taxpayer-funded education because the Supreme Court declared it so. Let's pause all that, and that'll actually be the name of the bill, the Pause Act.
So the Pause Act, he wants to pause, and he goes into some length on this interview with Benny, explaining that, yeah, we need to overturn the Supreme Court case that forces people to pay for the public school education of illegal immigrant children. We need to get rid of that. We need to get rid of so many of these other goodies. We need to get all the criminals out of here. We need to do proper background checks. We need to get anyone who adheres to Sharia law over the Constitution. If they can demonstrate that their allegiance is to something else before the Constitution, then, that could be a problem as well. And then once we get that all sorted out, we'll start immigration again. So the question isn't just, are you for the pause? It's for how long? Because if you asked, would you like for immigration, legal and illegal, to be frozen from now to the end of time, I think everyone would say no. And if you said, well, would it be bad for this country if we paused legal immigration for one day? I think almost everyone would say, no, that wouldn't harm the country. That wouldn't be a big deal. So where is it? Because Abby Phillips on CNN's just can't even have the conversation. Can you even believe people are talking about freezing legal? I'm talking about legal immigration. People believe this in MAGA world. Well, no, it's a decent conversation to have. Let's have it. Why are you hyperventilating? What's your cutoff? How long would you want it to be frozen? Now, 0 is an acceptable answer, but yeah, explain yourself. Really? Explain how it's got to be 0. It can't be 1 second. Could it be 1 hour? Would you be okay with 1 hour? Because you people that have just shut it off and said, no, we can't even talk about this. It's 0. Well, then I don't think you're a serious person. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. This is Lawrence and Alvarado. You're on WBAP.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. The issue of illegal immigration, that's just modern day slavery. So let's forget about that. The legal immigration, that included Elon Musk, that included Alexander Graham Bell, Tesla. We need to keep the country open to the best and the brightest from around the world. So the issue is quality and quantity, right? We have too many people coming in who do not qualify. This isn't 1888. This isn't the Lazarus poem on the Statue of Liberty. We don't need strong backs for shovels to make railroads and build buildings. We need strong minds and the best and the brightest from around the world. So 0 is unacceptable. Maybe it's only 1%, the 1% of the best and brightest from around the world to come to the United States and help make us better. But the illegal mass immigration, visa lotteries for different countries because some bureaucrat wants so many people to come from Somalia or other countries, that's all got to go. We've got to open the door, keep it open for the best and the brightest around the world to come here.
Yeah, I kind of like that too because, we're not going to get rid of Elon Musk. But are we going to keep the next Elon Musk from coming here if we do this? That's a legit concern. Correct. So I've always liked the idea of just doing what you described at all times. Like that's what our immigration system should be for. Are you an absolute genius, like off the charts genius? All right, well then you can come here. And there was the jokey part about when all the deportation started at the beginning of the year. Remember the pictures of like really pretty mugshots were being passed around saying, do you really want to deport this? And then we used to joke that, if you're a 9, you're fine, haha. If you're a 10, you're in, haha. So we don't need to deport the most beautiful, but jokes aside, we kind of should approach immigration like that. Not as shallow as beautiful women, but are you really exceptional? Would we not give Luka Doncic or the next Luka Doncic a visa to come here and play basketball? So I don't think it should be zero, but this whole idea where we're letting in 1 million people a year, these are not all the biggest, best, and brightest geniuses. So maybe for pedestrian legal immigration, we could pause that and then just keep the super geniuses in. And I don't mean the H-1B visas. What's the visa for the geniuses? Isn't that a Q visa? Or I feel like we've talked about that on the show a few times. Yeah. All right. I like that. Good addition, Lawrence. Thank you, sir. This is Jeff and Keller. You're on WBAP.
Yes, I think a year with a clause in there that we do have the option of selecting certain people. I don't know what to base it on.
Yeah, well, we should already be doing being a little more selective in a lot of people's minds. But a year sounds totally reasonable. Doesn't sound too hateful.
I mean, if you want to come here that bad, I mean, you'll wait a year.
Well, but the people who are in line from certain countries have to wait like 13 years to come in. But that's Jeff and Keller, a year. Does that sound so crazy? I mean, Abby Phillips on CNN is like, can you believe people are actually talking about this? Yes, it's okay to talk about things. It's okay. And in fact, it's okay to hear ideas you don't agree with. I didn't agree with Jeff and Keller there, but I didn't freak out and it didn't hurt me and it was worth having the discussion. We can just go back and forth there. You don't have to say like, oh, this is intolerable to even talk about. Coming up next on the James Show, the sheriff in Hood County is getting a whole lot of attention on social media. It finally spilled over to the TV because he arrested a man for simply posting a meme. We're going to talk more about it with Sarah Fields, Dominic Alexander's favorite investigative journalist, next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. What is this, England? Someone in Texas got arrested for a meme? Yeah, actually, I think so. My next guest, Sarah Fields, does some great work. You've heard her on the James Show before. Dominic Alexander's favorite investigative journalist.
Sarah Fields. Never heard of this woman.
Welcome back to the James Show, Sarah. All right, quick summary here. Our hero's name is Colton. He posted, obviously, satirical post on Facebook about a political ally of the Hood County Sheriff. The Hood County Sheriff goes and follows him to a gas station. They pick him up. They take him in. And he's out now, right? Okay, so okay, so let's talk about what happened to him since the arrest here. He got some weird sort of muzzle gag orders put on him. I see that. Now, what crime are they even charging him with? So this is obviously politically motivated here. Is there any recourse that Colton has to fight back against this cop, or does he have to just take whatever the courts give him? Friend of the show. He's been on our show a few times. Yep. What do we know about this sheriff? Is he normally a good guy that's just doing something out of character, or is he a known problem? Is this from you on Twitter? What's his problem with the VFW? Why would he go after those guys? An officer at the post. Sarah Field, tell me more about Colton Crottinger, the guy that got arrested. You say he's an activist. What is his bit? Wow. All right. Well, you know what? Go get them, Sarah. Good work. I appreciate your help. This is a pretty interesting story. And I didn't go chase this story down. There were a bunch of people from Granbury that were harassing me for a couple days before I covered this on the James Show. So good work and thanks. That's not very useful. All right. Well, this is Sarah
Fields. Never heard of this one.
Go away, Dominic. All right, Sarah Fields, thank you for being on the show again. I appreciate your help. Coming up next, Garrett's World. A peep into the Ned Flanders type fella on the other side of the glass. That's next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, you're just in time for Garrett's World. Buckle up. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. The guy on the other side of the glass on the James Show, his name's Garrett. He's just so good and he's so wholesome, it's suspicious. It's like Ned Flanders from Simpsons. He doesn't do anything wrong. In fact, he's a super nice guy. He's so nice, it makes you not like him. Like, can you stop being so nice all the damn time? Can you, like, I don't know, cuss me out or get mad at me or something? So we started a segment in his honor based on the stories that he tells. We call it Garrett's World. So what happens here is I'm going to play a quick story, and then someone related to Garrett's probably going to call in the next segment or so and tell me how awesome it was.
I'd like to do something a little different this week and tell a story to uplift others during these difficult times we live in. When I was 15 years old and a sophomore in high school, my church's pulpit minister, Carl Jones, was going to be giving a sermon on the book of Revelation, specifically what the kingdom of heaven will look like and be like. Knowing I had the ability to recite several passages from the Bible by memory, he asked me to do so for Revelation chapter 21. I agreed to do it and began memorizing the chapter. When the day came, Carl began his sermon, spoke for some time, then asked for me to come up and recite Revelation 21 in order to best describe the kingdom of heaven. Carl's part and my part were very successful, and I believe together we depicted Revelation 21 very well. Afterwards, many people came to me and told me how impressed they were at how I was able to do what I did. Then, one woman in particular walked up to me and explained that during my scripture recitation, she received a call from the hospital that her mother, who was really sick, had just passed away. She told the nurse that she had a sense of peace upon receiving this news because she knows where her mother is going, and that a young man just described to her how wonderful heaven will be. Honestly, among my other accomplishments, this one does make me pretty proud. I don't know of anything else that can possibly top that.
Thank you, Garrett. Another wild, crazy story from the world of Garrett. Garrett, you realize my stories are like, hey, this one time Dave ended up getting arrested, but here's how I got away. Like, do you get that? Like, you're so nice. Have you ever been in a fist fight? No, that's good. That's good. That's progress. See, the thing that it amuses me so much about Garrett is we tell Garrett, hey, you got one segment, tell a wild story, tell like the wildest story you can possibly tell. You've got a small window here to grab people's attention, and you can wow them with something amazing that's happened through the entirety of your experience on this planet. And this is what he comes up with. This is like the episode of Cheers, where Frasier gets offended that the Rebecca isn't interested in him romantically because he's too much of a good guy. And girls don't like good guys. And so Frasier was trying to prove Rebecca wrong. That, you know what? He's not such a good boy after all.
Frasier, I did not mean
Do you think I can't be dangerous? Is that it? You all think I'm just an old slipper? Well, am I a good boy? Would a good boy do this? I am running with scissors. I'm going swimming right after lunch. I'm leaving now. I'm going outside. I'm going to pet strange dogs, no matter where they've been. Look out, world. Fraser Crane's going to raise some hell.
All right, so that concludes today's episode of Garrett's World. Any comments? 800-288-9227. Or you can email me, Parker@WBAP.com. If you're related to him, I expect you to be calling here on the break and telling me it was awesome. Coming up next on The James Show, you know how our city just can't stop spending your money on stupid stuff? How important do you think is the McKinney trolley going to be to the successful implementation of the World Cup games here next year? Find out how much this is going to cost you next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Did you even know Dallas has a trolley? It's the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Yeah, over here on McKinney Avenue, not too far. It's walking distance from where we're broadcasting over here by the American Airlines Center. And so, I mean, it's kind of downtown Dallas. The nerds around here call it Uptown because it's just across the street from just across the Woodall Rogers Highway there. But it runs about 4 miles. I mean, it's cute, but it's like so many of the other public transportation options I see around me down here. It runs mostly empty whenever I see it. And granted, it's anecdotal. I haven't done a full bevy of research into the ridership totals or cost benefit analysis or the budgeting or whatever. I don't have to. I just roll my eyes and know it's an absolute ridiculous waste of money, which drives me nuts because everyone else seems to like it, or at least everyone on TV or at the newspapers or whatever. So WFAA had a story, drove me a little crazy about how this trolley's going to get some upgrades at your expense for the World Cup.
This small trolley running through Uptown in Dallas will have a big role during the World Cup games next summer. The M Line, operated by the McKinney Avenue Transit Authority, just got the funding it needs to get ready.
Funding for some repairs, some painting, some modifications to hardware, just making the system look really nice for visitors and folks from outside of the region.
McKinney Avenue Transit revived streetcar service in the 1980s. Today, the M Line connects riders to destinations throughout Uptown and downtown Dallas. During this meeting Thursday, an $800,000 boost from the Transportation Council before the World Cup, now part of the plan for hosting people from around the world.
We don't want people to leave Dallas and think that we were stuck in traffic or parking didn't work or we didn't know how to get around.
The M Line consists of 4.6 miles of track and lines, serves about 400,000 riders every year with 7 trolleys.
We're making sure that there's accommodations for different languages, and we want to be very inclusive to all of our users.
You wish to make a motion?
Also approved by the Transportation Council, $200,000 to enhance 911 capabilities. Because when the World Cup games are over,
we're going to get compared to all the other big regions in the country.
Like every World Cup team, as host, DFW hopes for a win. Hosting the biggest event ever in Dallas. I'm Scoop Jefferson.
Just boo all the way around. Just I hate all that. Everything about it just made me sick. This is another thing that came out in 1983. We needed to revive a trolley. Who said we needed to revive a trolley in Dallas? Well, you heard her. It's like, well, we're going to be compared to all the other towns, and how are we going to look compared to them? Yes, all these other towns that have wasted money on stupid streetcars. Can we show the world that we're just as dumb as they are? Can we show the world that we're just as irresponsible stewards of the taxpayer dollar as a New Orleans or a Philadelphia or a Boston? Can we do that, please? We don't want them to think that we're somehow fiscally responsible and don't fall for stupid trolley trains. God, this is so dumb. This is so dumb. It's an obsolete technology that had been gone for 80 years before we brought it back. And they call it progressive. Isn't that the damnedest thing? Yeah, you know what? Trolleys work. They were a lot more common back in the late 1800s or very early 1900s. The turn of the last century was the heyday for streetcars. And a lot of the big towns had them. You know why? Because we didn't have regular cars yet. Okay? Because we didn't have Uber. Because we didn't have a Ford F-150. So dumb. God, and the dumb ideas just pile on top of each other. What? Because not only do I just dislike the idea of the trolley line itself, and it's dumb, and it's just something that's a money suck. There's no utility. They didn't even give you a good reason why it's going to be needed. They didn't tell you, hey, in 1983, it made all these promises, and this is how it succeeded them. It's just like DART. They made all these promises, didn't live up to any of them, and it still gets called awesome. How does having a 4-mile streetcar service in uptown Dallas, how does that facilitate a smooth World Cup experience? The media center is supposed to be in the convention center, which is not connected to the trolley line. The games are going to be played nowhere near downtown Dallas. So what are we doing here? It doesn't seem like there's any overlap in these two issues at all. Oh yeah, well there might be someone on McKinney Avenue who wouldn't want to walk from pay way to Hop Dotty or whatever. So what are we doing? $800,000 for this? It never stops. It never stops. Now, the streetcar, it may be the dumbest of the experiments here.
Neighborhood of make-believe.
And I think we all got indoctrinated by Mr. Rogers to think trolleys are cool, or that's fun. You hear the little chiming, the bells, you see the little thing. But make no mistake, just like the Charlie here on Mr. Rogers, this is a land of make-believe. These people just live in a fantasy. Someone throws out the idea, we should have a streetcar. Oh, that sounds fun. Let's have a streetcar. Why? Then they never explain why. Oh, well, people can get a good ride. That's not a good excuse, y'all. It's not a good excuse. $800,000. Remember, this is a city that is in debt up to its eyeballs. This is a city that doesn't have enough cops. This is a city where some of the roads look like Swiss cheese, especially Interstate 45, just south of downtown. That's embarrassing. Lady, you want to talk about when people come visit here and then they leave and compare Dallas in their minds to the other big cities they've been to? They're not going to say, well, the roads were terrible. I almost broke an axle on one of the interstates right by downtown, and there were homeless people sleeping everywhere, but damn, they had a nice trolley line for 4 miles. That changes everything. It's just dumb stuff, just ponderous levels of dumb and over public transportation. And it just blows my mind. Like this TV station just shows up. Hey, tell us how awesome it is. Let's go talk to everyone who's going to tell you it's awesome. Let's not talk to one person who could actually talk some sense. Let's not talk to the one kid who's saying the emperor's not wearing any clothes. They're just stuck on it. They're like, yeah, trolley. That sounds good to me. Everyone agrees, right? No. Stop it. Just like they were saying we need to do the study to see how much money it would cost to renovate City Hall, or how much money it would generate in economic activity if we knocked this whole thing down and built something else, some new development, some economic stimulus project. How about we have a study to see how many people actually ride this trolley? How about we have a study and we see how many people the trolley could carry versus how many people it does carry on every ride? And give me the proportion. Give me the proportion of how many of those trolley rides are empty. How many? What's the average trolley ride capacity? 5%? 10%? Because it sure as hell ain't 50%. 1%? Because I think the stat of the week that we learned on the James Show is the number of commuters in North Texas that actually use DART. 0.6%. This is after the billions of dollars we spend every year on public transportation. This is after all the politicians on Team Blue, all the media figures on Team Blue, all the columnists and journalists, air quotes, on Team Blue, telling you how awesome it is, making commercials about it, putting up billboards, putting up radio ads, putting up public service announcements. You got the ads on the back of the bus stop benches. You got the ads on the bus themselves. You got celebrities that are pitching for it. Nothing but good stories. And what do you have to show for it? 0.6% of commuters. Before DART was founded in 1983, the number of commuters in North Texas that use public transit was 3.4. DART has driven it into the dirt. 800-288-9227. Does anybody like the trolley system? Does one person? John Kemp, you're on WBAP.
Hey, buddy, you're killing me. It's great. I love this stuff. It's awesome. I think Dallas just wants to put the facade on that this is Xanadu, and that it's the greatest place on the planet and everything else for whatever, a week or two, or they were going to do these soccer games. And they don't care about the $800,000 or whatever it's going to cost for then after everybody leaves, it'll go back to what it was.
Well, it's not even going to be anything during the World Cup. People aren't going to ride this for the purposes of the World Cup. This isn't like connecting any of the World Cup facilities to other World Cup facilities. It's just a weird excuse to flush $800,000 down the toilet. Does anybody like the trolley system? Can anyone try and defend it? 800-288-9227. I mean, you can call in if you agree with me and you're against it, if you have some comments on that as well. But you'll go to the front of the line if you're going to tell me why it's essential we keep throwing taxpayer money at this dumb little streetcar that's about 4 blocks to my east right here. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. We're just talking about a lot of terrible ideas on the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. If I sound like I'm in a good mood, I am. It's Friday. I enjoy torching terrible ideas. And I know if you've been listening to the James Show for a while, you've heard me gripe about DART, and you've heard me gripe about the trains, you've heard me gripe about the buses, you've heard me gripe about the bike paths. Now I'm griping about the trolley. Do you even know we had a trolley? I mean, I knew we had a trolley. It just, you forget because it's just in this tiny little area. No one you know rides it. You've never ridden it, and you've lived here your entire life. It's completely worthless. It's another failed experience. It's just a vanity project. And the only excuse given on the TV report for it is, well, it would help. We've got to keep up with other towns. No, that's not it at all. It's getting $800,000 in taxpayer money to have some improvements for the World Cup. Excuse me, the World Cup. This doesn't go anywhere the World Cup visitors are going to use. The World Cup Media Center is going to be downtown. They're not playing the games anywhere near the trolley line. And the trolley line is just in this little uptown. If you're in uptown, it doesn't leave uptown. It stops at Woodall Rogers. It goes kind of up into where the Katy Trail ends over by, what is that, City Place? That big rose-colored brick building. So it's a complete waste of money. It boggles my mind that it gets positive news coverage from anyone at any time ever. And the excuses for it are just so shallow and dumb. Why do we still have these things? Why is it so hard? I'm ready for Dallas to get out of DART. Steve in Carrollton, you're on WBAP.
What's up, man? Haven't talked to you in a while.
Oh, Steve in Carrollton. I didn't know it was that Steve. Hey, Steve.
Hey, well, I was doing my own research on the trolley deal, and what I've come up with is nothing. It's kind of tough. There's not that I can find in the last 20 minutes at least. There's nothing out there. However, I did find the revenue that they're expected to bring back, the tax receipts from the tournament. FIFA is known for bringing a bunch of folks in, so theoretically, while it sounds like a tax killer, it may end up being a net zero as far as cost goes, because all the receipts that we're going to bring in, or all the taxes we're going to bring in, and receipts and everything else during the same time frame. I don't know if that means, or if that's necessarily a justification for it, but if it needed to be done and they couldn't find any way to do it, and you're going to be all of a sudden flush with cash, why not?
Well, because if we didn't have the trolley, then we would have $800,000 that we didn't have to waste on this trolley upgrade. The amount of money that we're going to bring in isn't dependent on whether or not the. Go ahead.
Your show, go for it.
I was going to say, we would have $800,000 that we otherwise wouldn't have. We don't need to upgrade it. The amount of money we're going to get from the taxes collected from the FIFA visitors, it isn't dependent on whether or not the trolley gets these upgrades anyway. It's all just money flushed down the toilet.
Well, it is, but if it wasn't this toilet, it'd be another toilet. They would take it and spend it on the.
That's a terrible excuse.
To build a new city hall.
But
I agree, but you got to live in the reality that the city of Dallas is corrupt to the core. There's nothing you're going to do about the city of Dallas being corrupt. You could at least get a shiny train instead of letting them use that money to tell you that they need a new city hall during that study.
No, I'd rather not get the train. I'd rather DART be folded. I'd rather the taxpayers not have to have that money taken from them and spent on something that they're not going to use. That's proven to be a complete embarrassing failure anyway. And I'm not ready to give up. I'm not ready to just say, well, it's corrupt, so I guess we're going to let them flush our money down the toilet. It doesn't have to be this bad. I know it's never going to be perfect. It's a human endeavor, but we don't just have to sit here and take it. You don't just have to grab your ankles and be like, well, if it's not this one, it'd be something else. That's terrible.
It is.
Stand on your principles, Steve. In principle, you agree with me. You're just a happy-go-lucky. I don't know. Do you want to be an agreeable guy? Because I'd rather have my taxpayer money than just go along to get along.
No. In principle, you're right. I agree with you. I just that's why I left the city of Dallas, because there's nothing you're going to do in the city of Dallas that's going to make a difference. They're ridiculous. That I don't want to call them any worse name than that, but I've got a few. But they are. That's who they are.
I know, but
all right, you're going to expect them to do. That's unfortunately no time soon. You know, they're definitely going to pull out every stop they can pull out.
Well, that's it.
To look good on the world stage, which is ridiculous in itself. You know, but that's what they're going to do.
Well, I don't like your attitude on this one, but I'm a big fan of your work, and it's good to hear from you, Stephen Carrollton. Find him on Twitter, Big Bad Black Conservative, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you much.
All right, thank you very much, Stephen Carrollton. Hey, so the penny is going away. If the penny is going away, I think that is all the evidence we need to say that the Federal Reserve should go away. The Federal Reserve was put in place to what? To preserve the spending power of the dollar, to make sure you had a stable currency, to make sure you didn't have a currency that was just going to get inflated to worthlessness. And now it's been inflated to worthlessness. Isn't this the most damning indictment of the Federal Reserve you could possibly have? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'll explain a little bit more coming up on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, we're just discussing terrible ideas on the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. We're talking about the terrible idea of spending more money or even having a trolley on McKinney Avenue here in Uptown. Absolute waste of money, another embarrassing failure. It's par for the course for public transportation. But in this one, they're spending $800,000 in taxpayer money to spruce it up for the World Cup. Sorry, the World Cup's not going to be in Uptown. None of these people are going to be in Uptown. You might have someone that might stay in a hotel in Uptown, but the trolley ain't going to take them to the media center where they're working at the convention center. Won't take them anywhere in downtown. So what is this? And why does this terrible idea get such good press? The other terrible idea, we got to go back about 100 or so years for that one. And that was the terrible idea of the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve Bank was supposed to be this progress that we're going to get off the old gold standard with its shortcomings and its problems. And the gold standard isn't perfect, but it's better than a fiat money system. And we know this because other empires have tried this throughout history. It always fails. Rome did it like 4 or 5 times. They start off where your money is actual metals and it's worth the metal content of the coin. And then they start mixing in other metals and debasing the coinage. And then before too long, it's just the cheapest metal they can find with a thin layer of silver on the outside. And you're like, well, what idiot would do that? Well, look at the side of your quarter. We're doing it right now. We're halfway through that failed experiment. And one of the greatest examples that this has failed is we're done with the penny. The last penny got minted this week. I have audio of it if it helps. It's just
everybody, this is the last one. Any final words for the penny?
God bless America.
Yeah, bless America. And we're going to save the taxpayers $56 million, which is good. We're going to do a countdown on this one. This is the last one. 3, 2, 1.
Yay! We've damaged our currency so much these coins are worthless. You know the old saying, not worth the paper it's printed on? This is not worth the zinc it is stamped from. We have the cheapest metals possible that we're making pennies out of. It's still 3 cents to make one of them. It's 1/3 the value of the trash metal that we're making. These are tokens now. These aren't even real. This isn't even real money. Now remember, the Federal Reserve, its job is supposed to what? Maintain the spending power of the currency, maintain a stable currency. And what have they done? Has it been stable since they got passed during the 19-teens? What was it, 1913 or something? No, we've had like what, 97% inflation, 98% almost inflation. The sooner we end this, the better. You know how I always gripe about debts and deficits? They wouldn't be able to print money if we didn't have a fiat currency. They wouldn't be able to print money if we were on the gold standard. This would end. They wouldn't be, because look, in Austin, God bless them, they have to figure it out every 2 years when they make a budget. They can't run a deficit. Why? They don't have a money printer. DC would have to live by those rules too. We would all be better for it. How would you like to not have inflation anymore? I know you're just used to, well, prices always go up. No, they don't. No, for the first 120 or so years of this country, we didn't have a problem with inflation. In fact, the price of gold was almost static. I mean, there was fluctuations from day to day and it would go up and down, but it went from like $26 an ounce when the Federal Reserve started to what is it now, $4,000 or something? No, there was nothing like that. That's for sure. So terrible ideas abound, terrible ideas persist. And both of these, whether it's the trolley or the penny, are based on poor economic understanding. This is James in Rockwall. You're on WBAP.
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to comment about the trolley and the DART situation. I mean, it's basically just socialized government transportation. They're taking our money to subsidize something else and redistribute our wealth into a program that's ultimately failed. I mean, when they announced DART, they said it was going to be a net zero cost. It'd pay for itself in like 10 years. And now they're $2 billion in debt. So we know that governments can't run anything except they run everything into the ground.
Well, I always like to take that wisdom that you just said, because everything you said is correct, and apply that to future things that they're going to try and do. So if they were going to, like when they open the Silver Line, let's make them say, okay, fine, we'll open the Silver Line. What do you think the ridership's going to be? What do you think it's going to cost? What do you think the fares it takes in are going to be? And if you're wrong on that, then we shut the program down. Like when Obamacare passed, and they were saying if you like your doctor, you can keep it. If you like your healthcare plan, you can keep it. Your premiums for the average family of four are going to go down by $2,300 a year. They should have put an amendment in the bill saying, well, if X amount of people lose their doctor, then this plan automatically repeals itself. If it doesn't live up to its promises, then we repeal it. And of course, they're never going to do that. They just make the promises. They don't care if it lives up to it, because once it's in place, it's almost impossible to remove, especially when you get glowing coverage from the media around here.
I know. The other day I asked an AI, has Obamacare lowered premiums since it was signed into law? And the first word in big bolded letters was no. Insurance premiums have only risen substantially since Obamacare has been signed into law. So yeah, nothing, any type of social program, any idea that they think this is going to be the fixer of our problem, if we shove a bunch of your money at it, it'll fix it. It never fixes it. It just makes it worse for everybody else.
Totally agree. Now, this is more political than a lot of people realize, because there is a political advocacy group that is trying to save DART. They're running a public information and an activist campaign to get people to write letters to the city councils and get other people activated. And they're thinking about setting up protests. And it comes from the Action Network. It comes from the group that did the Pink Hat March. You remember when the ladies all did the vagina hats? They help mobilize that. They do a bunch of work with unions and progressive organizations, and this is what they do. They're like a 100% lefty political activist organization, and they are the main focus trying to keep DART alive. And my God, how can a train be this political? Well, number one, they don't ever admit it. They don't ever admit these are woke trains. These are lefty trains. These are socialism trains. They just talk about it in the glowing report on TV. Hey, how this is great. Isn't it nice? We got to have this because other cities are going to have this, and we got to look cool to our other city friends. No, these are all terrible ideas. Thank you very much, James and Rockwell. You bring up good points. Appreciate it, sir. Coming up next on The James Show, we are playing Name That Artist. Name That Artist. Kind of difficult on The James Show, but it's worth it because you can get 2 tickets to Train, Drops to Jupiter, 25 Years in the Atmosphere Tour, to Dos Equis Pavilion on August 15th. Special guest Bare Naked Lady and Matt Nathanson. Get tickets and information at livenation.com. But if you want to try and win a pair from me, call in right now. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Do we have time to play the montage now? Garrett? All right, we'll go to break. We'll play the montage when we get back. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. All right, who wants to play Name That Artist? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. We've got some tickets to give away. If you want to try and win train tickets, 800-288-9227. Bare Naked Ladies are opening for them, so maybe that's your bag. 800-288-9227. So to play Name That Artist, I'm going to play a montage. If you know some, especially all of these 10 artists, you might want to call in and get yourself some tickets. Ready? Go. All right, there's your montage for today's Name That Artist. Today we're playing for 2 tickets to see Train, bringing their Drops of Jupiter 25 Years in the Atmosphere tour to Dos Equis Pavilion August 15th. Special guests, Bare Naked Ladies and Matt Nathanson. Tickets and information, livenation.com. Today's category, if you didn't notice, was 80s MTV edition. We're going to start with Debbie in Mansfield. Are you ready to play Name That Artist?
I am.
All right, let's see how many you got here. Ready, Debbie? Go.
Madonna number 1.
Yes.
Eagles number 3. Missing 2. Pet Shop Boys number 4. Peter Gabriel number 6. And number 9, Blondie.
No. So how many was that? Was that 5 or 6? That was. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I got you down for 5. Is that good?
Okay.
All right. Does anybody else? Can anyone beat 5? This is what we're looking for next. Can Steve? Steve, is this the Steve in Carrollton or a different Steve in Carrollton?
This is the Steve in Carrollton, man. I never got so excited in my life. I said, I know some of these songs. Ah!
All right, well, what you got? You ready to do your list?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
How about A Flock of Seagulls? The Romantics? The Buggles? Peter Gabriel? Naked Eyes?
Oh.
No?
No, keep going. We're tied now.
Quarter Flash.
Steve, you just moved into the lead. What else you got?
My man. I thought there was another Naked Eyes song, but I'm not 100% sure.
No, there was one Naked Eyes song. Dude, hang on a second. Steve, do you even want to see Train?
You better believe I do.
You like Train?
Tell me why you think I wouldn't. Why? Is it because I'm black?
No, I don't. Oh, please. Look, it just because you're a man, number one. And I think you like girls, right?
I do, a little bit.
Okay, so I've just always seen Train as girl music. Like, this is music written for girls, sang for girls, aimed at girls. Their videos appeal to girls. The singer is a little Twinkie beta male guy. It's the songs are just so syrupy and lovey-dovey. Bleh.
And well, I married a girl.
Right. That doesn't mean you're supposed to like Train.
Oh, no. She likes Train.
Okay, so if you're doing this for her, that makes sense. Because if this is just an angle to try and get some action from the missus, I'm back on board with you. Hang on, let's see if anyone can beat you. Hang on.
Radio.
I know, I'm keeping it clean. Granville and Rockwall, we're running out of time. You're my last chance to get a steal. Can you do more than 6?
The bubble.
Yeah, we already got the Buggles, but go ahead. All right, screw it. It's taking too long. Stephen Carrollton, you're going to be my winner, bud. There you go.
My man.
Debbie and Mansfield, I'm sorry Steve beat you by 1. He beat you by, what was that? Quarter Flash was the one that you got that she didn't get?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Debbie. I got to give it to Steve now. All right. Thank you very much, Steve. You have just won 2 tickets for Train, bringing their Drops of Jupiter 25 Years in the Atmosphere tour to Dos Equis Pavilion, August 15th. Special guest, Bare Naked Ladies. I would leave after the Bare Naked Ladies if I were you. But for the rest of us, get tickets and information at livenation.com. I have a history with Train. And it's not that they're a bad band. It's just it's not music aimed at me. And I have to hear it everywhere. It was in so many commercials and on so many radio stations. And it would be playing in the store when you're shopping. And it would be playing on the previews when you're at the movies. And it would be playing on the speaker when you're at the dentist. I got so damn sick of it. I was like, I hope I never hear Train again. And then I went to like some festival. And it was my work-related biggest client invited me. And it was to see Train. And I had to go. And Miss Parker just laughed her ass off. She just thought that was so funny. Hi, Miss Parker. She's like, you can't leave. You got to stay. You can't. It's not like you can just walk out and wait till Train plays and then come back in. So yeah, that's today's episode of Name That Artist. Coming up next, we're going to do some comedians from the viral video reel to close out a Friday edition of The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, happy Friday. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. Listen, I'm going to miss you over the weekend. But if you need some more James Show action, I need more of you too. Go check out the podcast. Now, I swear if you already listen to podcasts, and when I say that, there's other apps. I don't want to give them some shine here because I want you to go to the WBAP app, WBAP.com or something to that effect. But if you are, I see what you listen to. I get the back end statistics. Some of you are on Spotify or that other silly app that rhymes with pie chart or my fart or whatever. So wherever, just that'll get you through until we come back and do this again on Monday. Remember the James Show podcast. But it's Friday, not a whole lot of time, and I want to leave you in a good mood as you get out of here because your weekend starts in 11 minutes. So let's do some Friday funnies to wrap up the broadcast week. Here is the great comedian Derek Stroop.
I'm 39 years old. I recently got engaged for the first time, so that's exciting. Yeah. You know, I mean, I'm 39. I've been on the run for a while. You got to eventually turn yourself in, you know? I mean, we're from the South. If you don't get married in your 20s, they start making up rumors about you. They're like, no, Derek's always been a candle guy. It's not a big deal.
Hey, I like candles. Next one comes from Heather McDonald. Now, she is not a comedian. She works at the Manhattan Institute. You can find her work at cityjournal.com. But she does a lot of really good work in looking in statistics behind so much of our political voting patterns. She found some interesting info about female voters.
On average, and again, I'm not talking about anybody's daughter or granddaughter, but on average, the data shows just uncontroversially that not only do males place a much greater premium on free speech, academic freedom, search for truth, females are the ones that are pushing for the speech codes, for the protections. Males are more rational, they're more interested in public affairs, they care more about cost benefit, risk analysis than females. And so an appeal based on an absolute ignorance of market economics doesn't surprise me that it resonates better with females. And I think they are going to have increasing clout in our political climate as time goes forward.
Makes you rethink suffrage just a little bit.
Absolutely.
Right?
I'm not just rethinking it. I have rethought
His
it.
whole transition team so far is women.
Oh, no. Repealing suffrage. I didn't say it. Heather McDonald said it. I didn't say it. Those voting patterns are wild, though. Here's another comedian. His name's Corey B. Doing a little crowd work, hitting a topic that's sensitive in the Parker household because Miss Parker herself is a ginger.
Hi, Miss Parker.
We have a kid that's a ginger. We have a lot of people in our family who are gingered, so we always get a nice laugh at these.
Are you a natural redhead? No? Why would you do that to yourself then? No redhead wakes up, they're like, great. No. What made you wake up and you're like, you know what, I want a hard time. Why would you do that? Took your soul and threw it away. What's your original hair color?
I was born a redhead.
You were born, so I just asked you that and you said no. The red went away? You're transgendered?
Transgendered. Oh my goodness. All right. Round of applause for that one. And then one more. This is not from a comedian. This is just from a lady who decided to turn on her phone and drop just a big boulder of wisdom. Because a lot of us are past this point here. You know, I'm in my late 40s. I'm never going to be hot again. Are you?
At this point in my life, I'm just not willing to make the sacrifices I would need to make to be hot again. Like, I really want to be healthy, but I've made peace with the fact that the next time I'm going to be smoking hot is probably when I'm being cremated.
Well, that's if you go to heaven. See, because hell's kind of going to be hot too. All right, that's going to about do it for the James Show today. Thank you very much for hanging out. I appreciate all the time you spend listening to the show. If you want to help me out over the weekend, I'm not asking you for money. I'm not asking for charity. I'm asking you, if you're going to be goofing around on YouTube, I don't care if you're in the handicap stall at Buc-ee's or if you're driving down the road or at your daughter's recital or whatever. If you're goofing around on YouTube, look up our goofy stuff on YouTube. WBAP, The James Show. We have a bunch of good stuff there. If you're not already following us on social media, take the time to just type in James Parker or The James Parker Show or WBAP, or you know how to find things now. It's 2025. I don't have to baby you through it. So we're on X and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all the things, YouTube, Rumble. So go check us out on social media. And if I could ask a big favor, tell somebody about the James Show this weekend. You know somebody that'll like this show. You know someone that if they heard this show, they'd be like, oh, this is great. Don't just tell them. Tell the people that would be horrified by this show. The people who, I don't know, wear rainbow paraphernalia, people who have a septum piercing, people who think men can have babies, people who think dart's a good idea, people who unironically watch MSNBC. Tell them about the James Show. Let me horrify them for a little bit. All right, stick around. Mark Levin's coming up next. This has been the James Show on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.